We're gonna start off with some tape. Whoa! Well, there's that. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're gonna be repairing and restoring the front bumper on this Mercedes CLS 55 AMG. As you can see, it's practically destroyed. But we're also gonna get a little creative. We're gonna be using some chopped carbon fiber from Amazon, and we're gonna attempt to replicate Lamborghini's forged carbon fiber look. So anyways, my mad scientist and I are going to go ahead and start taking this bumper off. This section here, we're going to make sure that that section is solid. So I'm going to use some carbon fiber to repair that. And then we're going to go to town with the 80 grit and get most of this other paint off. See, this situation here, if we don't get this off, we're going to have problems again. So anyways, we're about to get started. Stay tuned. Interesting setup. Woo! But we're gonna start with this here first, and then we'll worry about the other corner there. So we're gonna start off with some tape. Whoa! Well, there's that. Now we have two complete separate parts. You know what, actually? This is gonna make this easier to work, because now we can just go ahead and get this prepped, and we can repair this here properly, and then we can put it all together. So, wow, look at this thing. All right, so I'm gonna be using a little bit of panel bond, and this is a two-part adhesive. We're just gonna mix up a little bit, put that in between the crack, and then stretch some tape over it from side to side to hold everything together, so that we can put the carbon fiber behind it and make the structural repair. All right, that's gonna keep pressure. See how solid that is? It's gonna keep pressure on this crack. Let's take a look at this grit. See the size of those grains? It's very coarse. That's gonna put some deep gouges in the material. That's what allows the resin to stick. Once it's scored properly and it's applied properly, it's not going to go anywhere. All right, so we've done some scoring, and the harder to reach area has just been scoring with the razor blade. We want to make sure we give this really good, the resin a good chance to stick, to bind, and to soak into those scratches. Then we're gonna poke a whole bunch of little holes, and that'll ensure that this is not gonna peel off. Alright, so general rule of thumb is about 10 drops of hardener for every ounce of resin. These are little 1 ounce cups from Amazon, and we're only going to do half this time. So we're going to let the resin soak on the part. We're going to apply a sheet of carbon fiber, and then we're going to apply a little bit more resin, spread it out, make sure everything is nice and soaked. And we may do another sheet, but I'm doing small sheets because I want to make sure there's some flexibility remaining on the part. The only reason I'm using carbon is because I have a bunch of it left over, and it makes for a good, solid structural repair. Now, if you like the content so far, please do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe. While we let this cure, we're going to be moving on to the bumper. trying to keep that body line straight with the DA. You can see you can do a pretty good job. Saves you a lot of time if you can get handy with this. There's some cracking going on, so I'm gonna have to get up here too.
Perfect.
All right, so I got the bumper behind me. I got everything prepped. I got these corners ready to be put together. The center section has already been, I've already added the carbon and I've already trimmed off the excess. It's pretty solid, ready to go. I need to put this together so that I can continue working on the rest of the bumper, because right now it just flexes too much without that center piece. So I need some rigidity to it so that I can continue working on the bumper. So now, my apprentice is going for the day, so I'm gonna have to do this solo. So I'm gonna set the camera on the tripod and I'm gonna start working around it. And the basic idea is just to bind this section first, do one layer on the top and then 2 or 3 layers in the back. The back would be the structural part of it, and the front is just so that this crack doesn't show through again. I'm probably gonna use the good old tape method behind this. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on time lapse and we're gonna get her done. All right, so it is the next day. This is as solid as can be. This was already cured and I'm ready to go ahead and add a layer of carbon. I decided to just do 2 layers back here because it's important that this remains flexible. We don't know, we don't want this to be extremely rigid so that when it bumps something, it's going to crack something else, so it's going to put strain on the mounting point. I like the fact that this will stay flexible. So 1 sheet here will do to keep that crack from coming back out. I'm going to go ahead and 36 grit this a little bit more even. These, I don't know where these are. Previous repair somewhere, there was also another crack here, so we're going to cover all this right here. That's already cured as well. So I am going to go ahead as well, go do the inside of this. Then we're going to flip it around. And I also decided to do something cool. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a whole sheet of carbon here. So if we're flipping this bumper around, I'm going to flip it over and you're going to see the top side is going to be visible raw carbon fiber. So I think it'll be a fun project to do, and it would increase the appeal of the vehicle once it's getting ready to be sold. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this one. And we'll go from there. All right, so I got the majority of the bumper sanded. I got all the loose paint off, and we got the bottom all put together now. It's all nice and solid, but also flexible. So originally what I was gonna do is I was gonna put the carbon fiber weave on top of the front lip and make it visible through the clear coat. So I changed my mind a little bit, and I decided to go with that forged carbon fiber look that Lamborghini came out with. And just for the scope of the video, and I don't know what the whole process behind is, forged carbon or whatever, but I got a pretty decent idea based on what it looks like that I could just replicate it. And again, it's just for aesthetics, just for looks. So I bought myself a bag of some chopped carbon fiber they sell on Amazon. That's what I'm gonna use to try to achieve that forged carbon look. All right, so this is nice and solid, but yet flexible. So we need a little bit of flexibility. I'm gonna go ahead and score this with some 36 grit. And you see how rough this is. Okay, we're gonna put some scratch. It's gonna help you also level it out a little bit. We wanna score this really well so that the resin has a chance to soak in there. So All right, so here's the bag of the chopped carbon, and you can already see it can almost, you know, if you just resin over this, you can almost get that that look. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some West 105 epoxy resin with their special hardener, which is it dries up very clear. The reason I'm using West 105 is just because I had a gallon of it forever. So I'm going to go ahead and get that mixed up. We're going to brush it on, and then we're going to start sprinkling these things on. This stuff is sticky, so gloves is a must. This is West 105, and this is a special hardener 207. And I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna go for it. Fuck. So it's 3 to 1, I believe. Yes, 3 to 1. So 3 parts resin, 1 part hardener. Experiment, man. What the? Looks like I might have to do a lot of sanding. Okay, so it's wax paper time. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on a time lapse. Little Florida weather. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some pressure. I'm gonna clamp it all down with some sticks, and so it can be as flat as possible before we do any sanding. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so the goal here is to use the tape to squeeze out as much of the resin as possible. So for this, I'll be using some basic materials: wax paper, paint mixing sticks, and some masking tape. I'll leave links in the description below to all the materials I'm using. If you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right, so it's the next day, and I've let this contraption dry overnight. So I'm gonna go ahead and start unwrapping it and see what we got. Not sure what this thing's gonna look like, but it's probably gonna look pretty rough. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and start unwrapping it now. All right, so not bad. We're getting somewhere. We're gonna get the pattern. So now what I need to do is I'm gonna sand this down with our DA, and we're gonna sand this down, smooth it out, and apply another coat of resin. Just continue to apply coats of resin, sanding them down, etc., until we get the basic pattern. But yeah, it is actually working out so far. So I think this is gonna look pretty good. And then, you know, we're gonna, once it's all painted, I'm gonna cut the line like right around here. I think we got something here. So definitely, to do this kind of pattern, it definitely, I'm assuming it requires a lot of pressure. Again, you know, we're just going for the look. And also, it would help hide these cracks that were here so they don't show through paint. It actually looks pretty good. So, all right, so we have, this is where we left off. This is the next day again, but this is where we left off. I'm gonna sand this down, and we're gonna apply another layer of resin. This is gonna help me keep all the carbon fiber dust flying that way, which is currently where the wind's traveling right now. Hopefully that'll keep it up my arms and not have to worry about itching all day after this. So I'm gonna get started. All right, and we are back. We're starting to get that look now, finally. So this is gonna work out. It's gonna take probably another 2 to 3 rounds of sanding and resin. I've added a few bits here and some deep spots just to kind of fill it in. So these are gonna get sanded down, but you can see how this would look in the sun. Once again, we'll smooth out, apply more resin, smooth it out, apply more resin till it's all level. Almost kind of like doing body work, except that this is resin. I'm trying to maintain as much of the body line, the original body line, as I possibly can. You can kind of see that it has this face here and it has a flat end here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding on it again. This time I will do it by hand. We're just gonna keep going. This is gonna look very cool in the sun. Gonna put the tape here to keep the body line. All right, you can see how I just built that line right there. And I've done that on every pass. This is 80 grit, and I'm gonna go over it with 180 to smooth it out a little bit more. All right, so I'm gonna use the DA to speed up the top because it's a little lumpy. And then same process, 80 grit, blocking it, and then 180, and then I'm gonna smooth everything down to 400, maybe even 600. And I may do just one last coat of resin. Next time you see this bumper, it's going to be completely primed and ready to paint, and then it'll be installed in the Mercedes. I'm going to start off with some black sealer. Man, this may not be enough. Alright, so check this out. I got a little bit of clear mixed up. And what I'm going to do for the bottom lip, I'm going to go ahead and tint this clear with a little bit of blue. And what I'm going to use is some of this duplicate color metal cast. Maybe you can see it through. But basically it's like a translucent paint. And the reason I'm doing it this way, I mean I could use many other different brands, House of Color and all this stuff, but for something like this, like a do-it-yourself type of situation, you can use this all day, no problem. So I'm just going to spray it right in there. So we got a nice tinted blue clear coat. And this is what I'm going to apply over the carbon fiber. See how nice that looks. Is I'm going to put some of this clear on the bottom lip, maybe 1 or 2 coats, and then regular clear on the rest of the bumper. Don't worry about it. Here we go. Alright, so the CLS 55 is finally put together and it's getting... keep forgetting to look at the... Alright, so the CLS 55 is finally finished and right now it's just getting a bath. Once it's all nicely wiped down, I'm going to go ahead and put it out in the sun. Hopefully we get some sun, you know, Florida. But yeah, check it out. Alright guys, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Once again, I'll leave a link in the description below to all the materials I'm using. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'd love to hear what you think about this project. Please like, share, and subscribe. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.